Cody and
I don't really go in the warehouse very often.
did they walk? Cody and Taylor.
Yeah.
Those two they done.
That I don't know.
I'm going. It's something.
Yes, go. Okay. So I'm making sure I can my lecture's recording.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. That's great to see you here. We'll get started in just a few seconds. Let me first make sure that all our panelists for today are here and able to see Q&A. And I know one person said that they are here, but they're not a co-host. All right. So yeah, let me make you a co-host. Just give me a few seconds, please. Okay, and our second panelist. Okay, and our third person for today. Excellent, my co-host. So I manually made you co-host. It was actually supposed to happen automatically when we started the meeting, but something apparently didn't work quite right. So hopefully we are good. Our three panelists, can you confirm that you are able to see their Q&A and respond whenever we have anyone asking questions? Okay, cool, excellent. So let's get started. And so those of you who helped us last lecture, so let me talk a little bit about their panelist thing then. And I want to open up their sign up page that we are using. Share everything. Okay, based on what we discussed last time, we opened up their panelist sign-up sheet for more slots with the understanding that, hopefully that gives everyone who's willing to participate an equal chance of signing up for their desired date. And then we would select 3 to 4 people per lecture from those 10 to actually serve as panelists. And this is just to make sure that we give everyone a fair chance to participate and avoid situations where 2 or 3 people just take over the whole incentive. Okay, is that making sense? Cheyenne selected three people for today, and then she will do the same for all future lectures. And she sent those people who were selected. She sent them an email, I believe, this morning, saying that they were selected. And then, of course, we will try to make sure that everyone who signed up would get a chance to serve as a panelist. You can still sign up for future lectures, but if you're looking at the sign-up sheet, I think that the only slot left is for the last lecture. I don't know. Should we expand it even more, like to 12 or 14 people, and select from those, or just just leave it like that? Let us know. We want to be fair. We want to make sure that all people who are willing to participate have a chance to do so. Okay, well, someone is saying, can you make it X and then just random select? Well, that's pretty much what we are doing right now. X is 10. We cannot make this X a variable, right? So we have to, we have to go with something specific for this sign up tool. So I don't think X times 4 million. Okay. I think their consensus is that we open up more slots. To give more people an opportunity to sign up. And I will ask Shane after the lecture to do that. So just check this sign up sheet periodically. We will increase this this number of positions. All right. So the link to the sign-up sheet was supposed to be in their discussion forum. Yeah, so if you just search for, some keywords, there's a search capability on Submitty. So if you search for something like sign up or panelist or something like that. Oh yeah, thank you. Someone reminds me. Yeah, it's the top pinned post. And by the way, that would be a great question for Q&A, where this sign-up sheet is, right? Things like that. Let's reserve for Q&A so that our panelists for today have a chance to provide their answers. Remember that there should be enough questions in the Q&A so that all our 3 panelists have a chance to answer. Right. Otherwise, they won't earn any points. So please serve your questions to them, and it's also it also makes it easier to track when everything is Q&A organized by the question rather than this chat that scrolls sometimes very quickly. I have to kind of scroll back and and see to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So homework 2, when is it due? That's another great question for the Q&A, and someone already answered. But nonetheless, yeah, it is due on the 28th of September. For data points on homework 2 dynamic list, if it doesn't say anything, then it's up to you to decide. So if we want you to do things in a specific way, we will definitely mention it. If we don't say anything, you can just try to make your the best decision, right? So it's not random, right? But try to make a justified decision on what would be the best. When is test 1 grades releasing? So we are still working on test 1. So and I know it's been almost 2 full weeks, and one more time I apologize. So hopefully we release them tomorrow before the test. I would really hope that it is going to happen. So I know that we are done grading with the hardest, with the easiest questions. So those are done, and what's left is problem 4, problem 5, and I know our TA Niha and our other TAs and mentors who are helping them. They are working on those questions. So please. Please give them a little bit more time. Okay, and like I said, our goal is to get all the grades back within a week. Obviously, we didn't meet this, this goal on exam 1, and I know that it might, that it is certainly depressing, and you would like to get this feedback before test 2, and we are still trying to make this happen to get you the grades before test 2. If at all humanly possible, I'm sure our TAs will do their best to do that. Okay, and so now let me scroll down to. All right. What slides will exam 2 focus on? Another great question for the Q&A. And yeah, folks, ask those questions in the Q&A, right? If it's a question and it might be of general interest, so other students might be, might benefit from seeing this, question and answer to that question. Put it in the Q&A, and. What slides will exam 2 focus on? Yeah, so that's and it was on the forum. All right, so it's basically everything that we that was not included in exam 1 and up to today's lecture. I'm hoping to start the conversation on performance today. So we are starting new material, hopefully, but this material will not be on exam 2, so it's going to be in exam 3, right? Because performance is a topic where you need to practice solving problems, like computing the performance. So it is in homework 2 a lot, as you have probably seen, right? The coding question hopefully is very easy, but we give it a higher than a higher percentage, a higher weight than it probably deserves. It's I believe it's like 40% of the overall grade, but it's very easy. This is intentional just to make sure that the easier things sometimes also count for a significant portion of the grade, just to make things easier for you folks. And so all performance related problems, they are on homework 2. They will not be on exam 2. They will be on the next exam. But topics that we didn't cover yet in time for exam 1, so things like dynamic memory allocation, arrays, multi-dimensional arrays, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional arrays. So those topics, file I/O, reading, writing binary files and text files in C. So all of those are certainly going to be on upcoming exam 2. And I know, someone mentioned that there is. There is a career fair on Wednesday, and many of you are probably going to be there. So it's going to be harder to prepare for exam because of this career fair, and like I responded on the forum, unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing I can do uh, to move the date for the test. The only thing I can try doing, and I will definitely do, I will try to make it a little easier. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't study. Try to find the time to study. Try to find the time at least to go over all the practice problems. And of course, the real test is probably going to be fewer questions than in the practice problems. So, if you open the practice problems for exam 2, and it's like eight or 9 problems, don't feel bad, right? It's that there's no way there's going to be 9 problems on the real exam, right? So just as the bare minimum, review all the material, review all their slides, labs, um, lecture notes, examples that go along with the lecture notes. And as I mentioned before, some of them we have time to review in class. Some of them, I just post under lecture notes. Expecting that you will review those examples on your own. And of course, if you have any questions, you need to ask those questions. If any of the examples is unclear why it is there or how it works, what it does, you should ask questions in office hours, on the Submitty forum, during lectures, whatever. But those examples are, that they are part of the material, that they are reinforcing the material that we are that we are learning. So, like I said, I'll try to make this exam, shorter, and than it might have been, but we cannot skip it. We cannot move it to another date. So you still need to prepare, and like I said, review the slides, labs, and the first homework, and the examples in lecture notes. Also look at their Submitty forum and all the discussions that were going on there. Okay, yeah, you're welcome, certainly. And I'm just scrolling through. Yeah, Linux commands. So all Linux stuff is definitely going to be on their exam. Again, we'll try to keep it simple. Nothing nothing fancy, no advanced material. So if it's a script, I'm not going to be expecting you to know how to define a loop or an array, although the example was in their Submitty forum. But yeah, that's more advanced material. We're not gonna do that to you on the exam. But something like if you have your homework or whatever C code, right, in 3 separate C files, and now we want you to write a script that would compile all these 3 files and run them. Then that kind of script you should be able to write, hopefully. If not, let me know. I'll go over some examples, right? But at least the basics of scripting you should know, because it is a valuable tool in automating your testing, in automating all their tasks that are associated with building and running your programs. If you still do it manually from the command line, like typing the command every time, or even copying and pasting the command, you're wasting your time. You should stop doing that. You should automate. You should do scripts for sure. And that's why we review this material. We talk about scripts, and there are some examples. And like I said, they're really simple. There is one special line at the top of the script file that you need to know for Bash. All right, so it's this. And then everything else is pretty much you put the commands that you want to be executed as part of the script. One thing to remember, though, is that script is an executable. No, I probably don't want anyone to annotate the shared content unless someone has a good reason. If so, let me know in the chat. Send me a private message. For now, I declined because I thought it was just by accident. One thing to remember is that this script and the name of the file ends in .ch. This is an executable file. So if that kind of blends into our other Unix topic regarding permissions, right? So if you want someone to be able to execute this file because it's a script, it's an executable file. Yes, it's not binary, it's a script, but it's still an executable file. So if you want someone to be able to execute that this script, you should make sure that that person has appropriate permissions. In particular, there's this X letter for permissions that allows people, groups to execute files. So you need to make sure that this file has this permission set. So for example, tmp sh in lec02, and we can just go into that immediately. So I'm going to cd into lec02, and if I do ls-al, and I look at my temp sh, you see that X permission is set for the user and the group. So, who's the user and who's the group? So, Kuzmik, all right, that's myself. That's the owner. That would be the user would be able to execute, and the group, the owner group as well. VBox SF would be able to execute this script, right? So someone from outside, see, there's nothing here for everyone else. No X here, so someone from the outside would not be able to execute this script. It would be permission denied. Okay, so that was regarding Linux Unix, and we will surely finish this topic today. I think we started. We will be starting with the slide 157. That's, I believe, where we stopped last time. All right. Let me just look at what is going on in the chat real quick. Yeah, and someone saying that they were writing scripts for test cases in data structures. Yeah, I believe so. And like, if you somehow missed it, that's the right time to do it. Right. So it's nothing to be afraid of. If you haven't done it, just do it. And if you have any issues, just let us know. And you see, we have a very friendly class here. A lot of people are willing to help on the forum, in the Q&A, on Discord. So please ask questions. The same goes for practice test, right? Practice problems for exam 2, right? I haven't seen anyone discussing them actually, right? And I know they, they kind of were hidden by accident. So, someone pointed out to me, I think only on Sunday, that students were not able to see their practice test. Okay, and of course, if in the future you notice that something is supposed to be there but you don't see it, maybe I screwed up the dates or something when I was uploading it on Submitty, and Submitty just doesn't show it to you. And it's a manual process. I have to select the date when this thing becomes available to students, and because, as with any manual process, it is easy to mess up. So if something is not what you expect it to be, just let us know. Preferably not just me, but the entire teaching staff, so that whoever gets to fixing this problem first has the ability to do that. Anyhow, when there practice problems were posted, right? So I would hope that students start, working on those problems, and they are not graded. So you are free to do anything you want with those problems. You can post them. You can post your solutions on the forum. You can, post your code for those solutions, and do anything you want because you're not receiving the grade on the practice problem. So, please use this opportunity because, like I said, we have, a very friendly class full of people who are willing to help others. And it is great. That's what I love it about this class so far, and I'm hoping that it would just continue that way further into the semester. Okay, and yeah, Submitty Polls. Yeah, so let me actually go to our polls, and I believe so. Since we were talking about their exam, so I think this poll, oops, not this poll, today's poll number 2, this one is kind of on their exam. So you can vote for your favorite topic that you would definitely like to be included on the exam, right? And as I mentioned, that there will be not that many problems, so inevitably some of the material will be, kind of left aside and not included in their test in this exam too. And since we have no final exam, it means that this topic will not be included at all in any of the exams, which is unfortunate, but that's life. There's nothing, we cannot test you on absolutely everything, every single concept, every single command, slide, function, and so forth. So but if you have your favorite topic out of the ones listed in that poll, please, please vote. And of course, this is going to be our poll number 15. So I know there were people, so I've seen people who got 13.5 out of 14 polls that we had so far. So they participated in all of them and got only one poll wrong. Maybe there was someone who got 14 out of 14. I don't know. Rainbow grades does not sort by their, by their number of correct poll answers, but I definitely saw a person with 13.5. So that's great. And so with today's poll, that person is very likely to earn an extra late day that they could apply on homework 2. Okay, so we will continue those polls. We only have 2 today, but we had 6 last time, so it hopefully balances. And yeah, so yeah, I see people are already answering this one. All right, so I promise that I will include their problem on their topic that will get the majority of that will get most votes in this poll. Okay, so unfortunately, you cannot vote to exclude topics, but at least you can guarantee that one of their problems will be on the topic that you like, that you're comfortable with, or that you just think is a good topic to be tested on. All right, so that's their exam and their first poll for today. And before I review our polls from last time, let me point out something else. So if you look, first off, Lab 2 solutions have been posted right here under Lab, and practice problem solutions will be posted tonight. I'll try to do it before midnight, but if I do it a few hours into tomorrow, hopefully you will forgive me. I have quite a lot on my plate today. And I need to. So I have most of the solutions written. I just need to verify those that I have written, and I think I just need to finish writing one or two solutions for the practice problems. And then they will be posted. And then if you look at the lectures, like their lecture from last time. So here's their Q&A. So it would be a shame to lose the Q&A once the lecture ends. All right. So I want to make Q&A available to students to review as they're preparing for exams and whatnot, to just increase their usefulness, the value of the Q&A. So I will be posting the Q&A transcript under each lecture so that you can review it. All right. So I probably won't have time to do any kind of editing. So it's just directly the way Webex gives me that data, but I will be doing this. All right. If you have any issues with me posting Q&A, I don't know what the reasons could be, but who knows? If you have any issues, please let me know. Right. If not, I will just continue doing that because I think it's useful material to review, especially as people are preparing for their exams. Okay, and yeah, slides have updated, so I put our chapter 1. So we are finally starting the material covered by our required textbook, COD, Computer Organization and Design, their Patterson and Hennessy book. Yeah, and one other thing, yet another thing that I wanted to mention. Yeah, and you can see their grading progress in my view of Submitty. So you might have noticed that 2 optional extra credit items for participation have appeared in your rainbow grades. One is lecture Q&A participation. That's our panelists in their first batch of people who were helping us last time. They already got 0.25 points each, and those should be reflected in their rainbow grades. So panelists from last time, please check your rainbow grades. Make sure that you see those well-earned points there. And Submitty forum participation is our second form of participation. This will first be updated around the middle of the semester, and then the second time at the end of the semester. So for this one, no one has any points yet, but it will be coming very soon. Believe it or not, it's the 4th week of classes we are in right now, and yeah, so half semester mark is not that far away. Okay, and then let's go back to Submitty Polls and look at our polls from last time. So first 3 were constitutional. Yeah, so let's take a look at this and yeah, so the U.S. Constitution is their oldest and shortest written constitution. So I agree with that. I think that one is true. Constitution Day is September 17th. I think so. There are no spelling errors in their constitution. So this one, yeah, only 16 people selected because I believe this one is false. Does anyone know constitution well enough to tell me what their spelling errors were, or one of them? And let me scroll all the way down to chat. Yeah, Pennsylvania was misspelled. So maybe there were more. I don't know, but Pennsylvania is the one that I'm aware of. Okay, and I believe there. All right. Yeah. So the next 3, I believe, are all true, and then yeah. So this is actually false, and National Assembly is not, I believe, something from the U.S. history. I think I actually took it from their French history, and yeah, so U.S. Constitution was not created while the Revolutionary War was still going on. Okay, so that one is false, I believe, and so yeah, I agree with their Vox Populi on this one, on this poll. So next poll number 2. So yeah, 10 amendments. I think that there are very few doubts about that. And I mean, there's debatable things. If you read further, there were actually 12, but then proposed by the Congress, but then only 10 were added out of those 12, but 12 was not an option. So, options were like 10 and 13, and I don't remember even what the other options were. All right, but clearly 10 amendments is the correct answer. And then number 3, yeah, so English and Latin, again, uh, the majority of students, I agree with them. So no, there were no French words, but there were several phrases, not just even single words, but phrases in Latin. And I don't think that there were any Greek or Spanish words. I don't think so. If you think I'm wrong, please let me know. But I believe only English and Latin. Okay, and then poll number 4. So, which shell does your Unix box run? Of course, all answers were correct. So, whatever you selected, you would get full credit. I was just, it was a survey type of question. Of course, the majority of people run Bash because the majority of people before said on the previous poll said that they were running Ubuntu, so their choice of Bash is no surprise. All right, and then poll number 5. All right, so running this command puts all output into this file instead of putting it to the terminal. And yeah, I would go with the majority, right? Because this is redirecting all output std out into compile log, right? So yeah, and it's not going to appear on their terminal. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, error output doesn't count because it's oh, I see what you mean. So you thought that error output okay, yeah, I agree. It might it is ambiguous, right? It doesn't say. Yeah, so the answer was true, but let me see if I can change the poll after the fact to make it count false as well. Oh, okay. Thank you for reminding. Yeah, this question was asked during their class. Yeah, indeed. So there was a clarification, and yeah, I did say that it only counts their standard out. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, let's leave it like that then. And yeah, the vast majority of people got it right. And lecture poll number 6. So this one, okay. So the correct answer is actually it's a security risk, and it's a majority, but not the overwhelming majority. So quite a few people selected this one, and I'm not exactly sure why, but if you read this option, right, it's assumed you want the shell to look in the current directory without checking path. This is actually not what is happening, right? So if this were true, this option were true, then you could type the name of the program without this /, and it would run because their current directory would be considered part of the path that is searched, right? Part of their list of the directories that are searched when you run the program. So what I mean is, if we go to our, and I have a few examples here. So let me see. There is a slow program. Okay, and I compile it, and if I just type slow, meaning that the current directory should be included in the path, so the shell should be able to find my slow and run it. You see, that's not what's going on. So clearly, a dot is not included in the path. All right, because otherwise, and that's why we are forced to do, this. So it's definitely not assumed that you want the shell to look in the current directory without checking path. Okay, is that making sense? So, and it's a security risk because their current path can be, so the danger of potentially including, so if they did otherwise, if they did include dot in their path, then implicitly, then someone could copy a command with the same name as their name of the command that the user wanted to execute into the current path. And then when the user typed ls, instead of running their real ls from bin whatever, their shell would run ls from the current directory. And if that ls was some malicious program that was put in the current directory specifically to kind of fool the user or let the user execute that program without realizing that they're executing not the real ls command, then it can be potentially dangerous. That's why it's a security risk. Is that making sense? And like I said, those balls, they're relatively low stakes, so they're more of an attendance mechanism than a quiz or an exam. So, if some questions are not perfectly clear or not perfectly obvious, please apologize me. But since we're doing them in class, you can always ask for clarifications. When and where is the sponsor showcase? Oh, okay, that's a conversation about about the career fair. All right, so we are back here, and let me just quickly review their Q&A to make sure that I'm not missing anything important before we get started. Will homework 2 concepts be on exams tomorrow? No, has been answered, and the answer is no. Yeah, well, slide test is up to test is up to everything that we cover today except for performance. So for now, it's up to slide 156, but we should finish the entire first chapter today. And there's just a few topics left, 2 really small topics left. So it will be up to the end of the chapter of our chapter 0. Right. So if someone could follow up on that queue, so you probably know panelists can provide multiple answers, to the same question. So if someone could, kind of post a follow up to that question, saying that it's going to be up to, up to the end of chapter 0, provided that we cover it, which we should. Okay, our exam is going to take place in the same room assignments every week. We are not certain for now, yes. So for now, yes, but if we are able to get, so to have assigned seating for the exams, there will be announcement tomorrow morning. So please make sure you receive RPI email, make sure you check your RPI emails. frequently, so that if there are any announcements tomorrow in the morning, early afternoon about their about the exam or where you should report for your exam, you don't miss that. So, are there any recommended resources? Yeah. And yeah, it has been answered that there are many resources. YouTube's if you like videos, tutorials, if you like to read stuff. So definitely. Are the answers to the practice problems going to be posted prior to their exams? Yes. Syllabus questions? No syllabus questions. It just doesn't make sense. No. Um, yes, so all the rules for the exam are the same: open book, open notes, any printed materials, but no electronics. Okay, please let's reserve Q&A to the topics related to this course, all right? Good ramen around Troy is a good question, but probably not particularly relevant to this class. Okay. And stuff that we are finishing with with chapter 0 is going to be on the test. And if you looked at the practice problems, you saw that there was stuff on exec and fork, so that is definitely going to be on the exam tomorrow. Okay, about script taking you to a certain directory, yeah, you can just do CD or any of the other solutions that people that our panelists posted. Yeah, that would be. Okay, cool. So I think we're good with Q&A, and let's go back to our topics then. Let me see if I have anything that I may be missing. All right, exam 1, exam 2 tomorrow. Homework 2, lab 2, solutions are posted. So look at their solutions to lab 2. We're not gonna, we don't have time to go over them, but hopefully they're pretty self-explanatory. If you have questions, please ask. If you want me to go over them, please let me know. But for now, I'm going to skip those, and we are at our slides here. So job control, and this is a very useful mechanism in Unix that allows you to run multiple things at once, multiple programs at once. Especially, it is relevant to programs that are taking a longer time to execute, and you can have them, multiple things running in the background, and then switching between them or observing how things are going. So this is kind of parallel to their process, to their concept of processes. Remember, we mentioned before that each program that you run, it becomes a process as far as operating system is concerned. But you can also organize processes into jobs. So it's kind of similar to batch processing, if you will. So when you run a program, you can also designate it as a job, and the job can be run in background, meaning it will not be hooked up to their, its std-in will not be hooked up to their terminal, but its output would still be printed on the terminal. right? It's just their input that gets disconnected. And then you can bring that program into foreground. That is, if you want to interact with that program, and that restores that link between their keyboard, between their terminal input and the STD in. So you can move jobs between background and foreground. You can be suspending jobs, and you can terminating or killing jobs. So the way it works is if you run your program and follow it with an ampersand, then it tells the shell to run this program as a background job. And this way, you don't need to wait for the job to complete. Their control, so their shell returns immediately to their command prompt, and you can type a new command right away while that job is running in the background. You can have as many jobs as you want running at once, and that's their example how this is done, right? So just add this ampersand, and you are done. All right, and so if you have multiple jobs, well, in any case, you can run this jobs command, and it will show you all jobs that are currently running. The shell assigns a number to each job. This number is shown right here. So this is the job number, and you can bring jobs to background or to foreground by using this number. So this number is like a job ID. So that might be important. Okay, and I see a continuing discussion about their scope of exam 2. So let's then revisit this. So do folks think you wouldn't have enough time to prepare for their exam, given that there's 30 slides left that we are discussing today, and you would really like to only have exam 2 up to what we covered on Friday last week, and then have today's material included in their next exam? Okay. All right. And it seems everyone is agreeing. So yeah, I think it's quite a bit of material, and yeah, I agree. It would be especially with the career fair a good point. All right. So done. Yeah. Sorry. For going one direction and then reversing. So let's then keep the exam 2 scope limited to what we covered on Friday last week. So up to slide 156 and lab 2 and that stuff, and then have the material from today included in exam 3. Yeah, and some practice questions will no longer apply. So, but you can easily tell which of them apply and which of them do not apply. So everything related to jobs. I don't think there was any practice problems on jobs, but maybe I just forgot. But there was one when you were asked to write your own shell. So this one you definitely need the material that we will cover in a shortly today on fork and exec functions. So that practice problem definitely does not apply. I don't have a list of practice problems in front of me right now. I will post this. I will so ask this question on here in Q&A so that our panelists can answer, or ask it on the Submitty forum any way you like, and we will panelists in the Q&A, or I on or myself on the Submitty forum. We will we will give you their exact numbers, the exact number of the exact numbers, the exact practice questions that no longer apply. Yeah, I think number 9 is one of them. It's when you are asked to write your own shell. So that one is then no longer applies based on our decision. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of glad we made the decision, right? Yeah, if at any point you see that I'm about to do something unfair or wrong or cruel to you, please let me know. If it's something that I can change or reconsider, I'm always willing to do that. Okay, sound good? Okay, shell scripting. Okay. Shell scripting. Let's then spend some time on this today. Okay. Would that help? And like I said, I'm not expecting anything more fancy than just getting a collection of commands in a single file, right? That's about the scope of it. So let's finish with our jobs and then talk about shell scripting and what is expected from you to know about shell scripting on the exam. Okay. All right. All right. Here and if you run, if you have this ampersand, all right. So you are asking the shell to run this program as a background job. What if you accidentally forgot this ampersand and you just ran your program like that? Of course, it will be running in the foreground, right? So it will be running in the interactive mode, expecting any input to be provided from the keyboard by the user if there is any input. All right, but what if you then want to send that program to background? You can press Control Z, and this suspends the job and moves it to the background, but the program is not being executed. It's not dead, it's there, but it is suspended. It will still show up in the job's output, but it will not actively run. So if you want to run it, you need to use the FG foreground command to resume the execution of that job. If you don't do that, it will just be suspended for forever. And you can kill the foreground job by pressing Control C, as you can do with any other program. And if you want to just in general terminate any process on Unix, you need to send a signal to that process, and Unix actually it's up to the process to decide if it's going to honor the signal or not. So, if a particular process is especially naughty, or they decide to not comply, they can actually ignore the signal. So there are different signals, right? You can just basically send a signal, hey, I want your attention, or you can send a signal, please terminate, a so-called sig term, right? The request to terminate. This dash number is the type of the signal you're sending to the process, and so kill -9, and then and then the name of their process follows, right? So kill -9%1 is an example where you want to kill one of the jobs and then get back to their terminal prompt. That's that, and we will go through the examples, of course. And yeah, before we do our second pop quiz for today, let's go through some examples. I'm just looking at the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right. So for this, I wrote these two programs. One is just a slow program, right? It's a big loop. So let's make it even bigger. Okay. So it will just run slowly. Really, nothing else is fancy. All right, because with jobs, you typically want to run something as a job if it's slow and you want to run it in the background while you're working on some other stuff. And well, it's computing the sign, right? So it's doing some work, right? And of course, the more you have in the body, the slower it's going to be. This env it's a pointer to the environment variable, to the environment variables. Yeah, sign of x is x. Exactly. I don't know. Yeah, probably the implementation of sign is is efficient, all right, but note the range of I, all right, is not your 0 to 2 pi, all right? It's a lot more. Anyway, it's really immaterial. You could have put anything here, all right, and we just wanted to do some work. It would probably work like that as well. I don't know how much slower it would be. You might want to experiment and just run this code like that. Getting back to envp. The command line arguments, they're arguments of main, argc, the counter of arguments, command line arguments. Argv is the array of C strings. Each string is an argument. And environment pointer is similarly, it's similar in structure to argv, but it contains all environment variables. So it's an array of strings. So if you are interested in getting a particular environment variable that applies in the shell that runs your program, like path and host and host name and user and username and stuff like that, you can go through this envp and get those environment variables from there. Okay. And yeah, so we're not using envp here, but since someone asked, I thought I explained it. Okay, so this is just just do some work so that the program doesn't run in a fraction of a second, but hopefully takes a few seconds to run. And this sleepy thing, first note that there is a uni std that I included here, the header. It contains a lot of system functions that we will see more of them coming up, like exec and fork. And you will see a lot more of them when you take operating systems. So if you are a CS major, operating systems is another required class, and we are basically scratching the surface of some of the things that you will explore in in a much greater detail in operating systems. So things like exec and fork that we will cover shortly, and all those pipes and redirections, you will learn a lot more about them in operating systems. So if you have at least a basic understanding of them now, then operating systems is going to be a lot easier for you. At least in the topic that talks about it, and it's pretty much it's a fairly significant topic in operating systems. So you will do your future self a favor if you cover this material well now, right? Because operating systems is a pretty tough and demanding course, especially if you take it over the summer, as I'm sure most of you would have to, right? So this material will come back to you, in operating systems. Uni std is the header file, and I wanted it because of the sleep function that just pauses the execution of the program for a certain number of seconds. So this duration argument is the number of seconds. As you can see, it is extracting it from the command line argument, so that we can basically, have a program that we can say how long we want it to execute. And of course, those examples are completely meaningless. So they are here just for the sake of the example and to let us play with the jobs. But if I do my sleepy C and I compile it, and then I want to do sleepy. I specify the number of seconds. I run it, and it should take about 4 seconds, give or take, to run. If you actually want to time the execution of your program more precisely, you can use the time command. It's a standard command on Unix, Linux systems. So you can just do time and then your actual command with the command line arguments, and we can try it and see that, indeed, when it prints the result, it did take, the real time is basically the wall clock time, right? That's our time. Um, Human time, wall clock time, basically, it's like you are standing there with a stopwatch timing your program. So we see that it's 4 seconds that the program was sleeping plus a little bit when it was actually doing something. And there are also user time and system time. So that that is the view of the time from the standpoint of the system, right? Because we see that our program was sleeping for 4 seconds, so it wasn't really doing anything. It wasn't occupying CPU. So the real, time was basically that 0.003 seconds, right? And user and system has to do with their user functions and system functions, right? So system functions are privileged, and sleep is one of their those functions. So it was run, and that function was exactly the one that that switched our program from the running state to the suspended sleeping state. And as you see there, it's not just a simple sum. So you see that we cannot. So they are not just they are not. So those values are independent, the way we look at them, right? So you see that they do not sum up to 4.013, right? Now let's try doing some jobs. If we first let me run my sleepy for 40 seconds or maybe a minute. All right, if it's here, return to the terminal, right? So I can type here, but I'm not. It's not the terminal, all right? It's not my shell. So all this input goes to my sleepy program, which doesn't really need it, which doesn't have any scanf calls or anything like that. Until my sleepy returns, I won't be back